I think all of us are a little tired of being in lockdown because of the coronavirus pandemic, but it's interesting to see how the mind and body react to these very different circumstances and not being able to have freedom of movement. Some of us have lost loved ones during this time and haven't been able to take plane flights or attend funerals, all that sort of thing. It's a very difficult time when we can't have closure to some of those very important relationships in our lives, and we have to do it inwardly. That's the key that we have to use to sustain ourselves during this time. God does have a plan. According to the astrology of Sri Yukteswar, we are in an ascending yuga, meaning that we are headed towards a higher age. We have left behind Kali Yuga, and we are a couple hundred years now into an ascending cycle. I love thinking of this in terms of every day gets better. I know it's hard to think that way sometimes, but the general consciousness is improving as we go into this higher age. And it's interesting to contemplate that making the break between Kali Yuga and Dwapara Yuga, this higher age, versus Kali Yuga, the darker age, with its kings and tyrants, with its lying and cheating and dark energy of negativity, pain, violence. And as we move into this higher age of energy and thinking in terms of consciousness, they're very different and they don't change automatically. We can't go from that kind of Kali Yuga thinking to Dwapara thinking overnight. And what we see in the world around us now is the clash of those two very different ways of being. And some people want the dictator, the tyrant, the mindlessness of following a king rather than a democratic ruler. All those sorts of conflicts are in play in this world. The violence versus the higher consciousness of compassion and compromise. All of these energies are at play. And we need to be patient in our view of the world. We need to take a longer perspective, a wider perspective, and try to feel that trust in God who has set all of this in play. If we make that energy, God's energy, the foundation of our lives, then we can move towards happiness. If we think of this pandemic as an opportunity to learn something, then we will have used our time well. I can say that I am learning a great deal about myself, being so sequestered and having to look within more than I would normally do. I have a friend who said that whenever she had a class to prepare for, it was amazing how clean the house would get. And what she meant was that she would find all sorts of things that needed to be cleaned in her house rather than studying for her presentation. And that's one of the things that I've learned myself during this time is the power of distractions. It's very easy to keep our minds light, to run around and feel as though we have accomplished a lot because we've done a day full of errands and shopping and all of that sort of thing. But how deep have we gone into our hearts, into our inner stillness and peace? If we aren't careful, we can spend our entire lives being distracted. But we will never know true happiness until we can let go of distractions, set them aside, not allow them into our meditation practice. How often do we meditate using the Hong Sau technique, for example, and we begin, and then 10 minutes later, we realize, oh, all I did was compose my shopping list for the grocery store. I didn't do Hong Sau at all. And we begin again. We have to let go of all those attractive, brightly colored balloons of thoughts that drift through our consciousness. We need to learn to concentrate and give our attention to that which is important. Otherwise, years can go by and we never get to that deep stillness within, which is the heart of all spirit, of all joy, of all inner peace.